We have all been there. A tickle in the throat develops into a persistent, hacking cough that keeps us awake at night. In that moment of desperation, many of us reach for a familiar remedy, a thick, sweet bottle of cough syrup. It has been a staple in our family medicine cabinets for generations, a go-to solution passed down from our parents and grandparents. The colorful packaging and reassuring promises of fast-acting relief make it an incredibly tempting purchase. We believe that by taking a spoonful, we are actively treating our illness and speeding up our recovery. It feels like we are doing something productive, which is often more comforting than simply waiting for the cough to pass on its own. The popularity of these syrups is truly immense. Supermarket and pharmacy shelves are lined with dozens of different brands, each claiming to target a specific type of cough, be it dry, chesty, or tickly. The marketing is clever, playing on our desire for a quick fix in our busy lives. We are sold the idea that these formulations are precisely engineered medicinal products, capable of silencing a cough and soothing our airways. This belief is so deeply ingrained in our culture that questioning the effectiveness of cough syrup can feel almost counterintuitive. For decades, we have simply accepted that this is what you take when you have a cough, rarely stopping to ask if there is any solid scientific proof behind the claims on the label. However, what if I told you that this long-held belief might be little more than a well-marketed myth? What if the comfort we feel from that sugary liquid is more psychological than physiological? Recently, the conversation around cough syrups has been reignited, thanks to some rather blunt statements from medical professionals. One doctor, Asif Ahmed, made headlines when he publicly labeled the sale of over-the-counter cough syrups as a big scam. This is a powerful accusation, but it comes from a place of professional experience and a desire to give patients honest, effective advice. Dr. Ahmed argues that these products offer no real medicinal benefit for treating coughs, which are most often caused by viral infections that simply need to run their course. He points out that our bodies are designed to heal themselves, and a cough is a natural protective reflex that helps clear mucus and debris from our airways. Instead of spending money on expensive syrups, Dr. Ahmed champions a return to simpler, more traditional remedies that are backed by both historical use and modern science. His primary recommendation? A warm drink made with honey and lemon. This is not just an old wives' tale. There is sound reasoning behind it. Honey is a natural demulcent, which means it forms a soothing film over the irritated tissues in the throat, providing genuine relief from the urge to cough. Lemon, rich in vitamin C, can help support the immune system. This simple concoction is not only effective but also significantly cheaper and safer than most commercial preparations, which often contain a cocktail of unnecessary ingredients. Dr. Ahmed's advice extends beyond just what to take. He also emphasizes what not to do. He cautions against the cocktail of ingredients found in many all-in-one cold and flu remedies. These products often contain decongestants, painkillers, and cough suppressants all mixed together. The problem is that you might be taking medicines you do not actually need, which increases the risk of side effects without adding any real benefit. His message is clear. Treat the specific symptoms you have and do so with simple, targeted remedies. When Dr. Ahmed's comments went viral, they sparked a massive debate across social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter and Facebook. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion on cough syrup, and people's experiences were surprisingly varied. On one side, many users wholeheartedly agreed with the doctor's assessment. They shared stories of spending a small fortune on different syrups over the years, only to find they made no discernible difference to their coughs. Comments like, "Finally, a doctor says it. I've always thought they were useless," and "honey and lemon works better than anything I've ever bought from a chemist," flooded the discussion threads. However, the conversation was far from one-sided. A significant number of people jumped to the defense of their favorite cough remedies, sharing personal anecdotes about how a particular brand had helped them or their children. Many parents, for instance, spoke of the calming effect a spoonful of syrup could have on a child struggling to sleep. These comments highlight the powerful role of personal experience and the placebo effect. If a person truly believes a medicine is working, the perceived relief can feel very real, making it difficult to accept that it might not be clinically effective. The debate also revealed a layer of confusion among the public. Many people seemed unsure about the different types of cough syrups and what they are supposed to do. There was a lot of discussion about expectorants, which are meant to help you cough up phlegm, versus suppressants, which are designed to stop the cough reflex. Users asked questions like, so am I supposed to take something to make me cough more or less? It's so confusing. This confusion is often amplified by marketing that uses vague terms like chesty or dry, which may not always align with a clear medical diagnosis. The online chatter made it clear that many of us are navigating the pharmacy aisle with limited information. When we move away from personal anecdotes and into the world of scientific research, the case for most over-the-counter cough syrups becomes remarkably weak. Numerous clinical studies and systematic reviews have been conducted, and the results are consistently underwhelming. The Cochrane Collaboration, a globally respected organization, has published reviews on this topic. Their findings conclude that there is no good evidence for or against the effectiveness of OTC medicines in acute cough. In simple terms, despite decades of use, there is no robust scientific proof that these syrups work better than a placebo. The active ingredients are often the focus of this scrutiny. For example, common expectorants like guaifenesin are supposed to thin mucus, making it easier to cough up. However, studies show the dose in most commercial syrups is often too low to have a significant effect. To get a dose that might actually work, you would need to drink far more than recommended, which is not safe. Similarly, suppressants like dextromethorphan aim to block the cough reflex in the brain, but have been found only marginally more effective than placebo and can come with side effects. This lack of evidence is why major health bodies, including NICE in the UK, do not recommend these products as first-line treatment. The official guidance steers people away from these preparations, especially for children. The reason is simple. The potential risks often outweigh the minimal, if any, benefits. Why expose yourself to unnecessary chemicals for something unproven to work, when safer alternatives are available? So, if the science is so clear, why are these products still sold? The answer lies in historical precedent and regulatory frameworks. Many ingredients were approved long ago before clinical evidence standards were rigorous. They're considered safe for short-term use, so there's no urgent push to remove them. However, safe does not mean effective. They represent a triumph of marketing over medicine. The official advice from the National Health Service, or NHS, really lines up with what scientists and doctors like Asif Ahmed have been saying. The NHS website, which is actually a trusted source for millions of people looking for health information, is super clear about this. For a typical cough caused by a cold or the flu, the best thing you can usually do is just take care of yourself at home. The guidance points out that there's limited evidence that over-the-counter cough medicines actually do much. So instead of suggesting you rush out to buy a bottle of syrup, the NHS recommends simple, practical, and often free remedies that can help you feel a bit more comfortable while your body does its job fighting off the infection. At the very top of the NHS's list of recommended treatments, you'll find once again that classic combo, honey and lemon in a warm drink. And honestly, this isn't just a casual tip, it's official guidance. The NHS specifically says that a homemade remedy of honey and lemon can be effective at soothing both a cough and a sore throat. For children who are older than 1 year, a spoonful of honey before bedtime can help reduce coughing and, help everyone get a better night's sleep. But, and this is super important, honey should never be given to infants under 1 year old because of the risk of a rare but serious type of food poisoning called infant botulism. Beyond honey and lemon, the NHS advice sticks with basic but really effective self-care measures. Staying well hydrated by drinking plenty of fluids is crucial, since this helps thin out mucus and soothes an irritated throat. Getting as much rest as possible is also key, because it lets your body focus its energy on fighting the viral infection. And if your cough comes with pain, like a headache or muscle aches, the NHS recommends taking simple painkillers like paracetamol or ibuprofen, as long as you can take them safely. The idea here is to treat the symptoms that are actually bothering you, rather than reaching for a multi-ingredient product that you might not even need. This approach actually represents a pretty big shift in how we're encouraged to think about coughs. The NHS wants us to move away from chasing a quick fix, and instead take a more patient and supportive approach to recovery. A cough is really just a symptom, not an illness in itself, and it's a sign that your immune system is doing its thing. By recommending rest, hydration, and simple soothing remedies, the NHS is empowering us to manage our symptoms effectively, without spending extra money on expensive and unproven medicines. Their message couldn't be clearer. Save your money, keep it simple, and trust your body's ability to heal. While most over-the-counter cough syrups are, honestly, largely ineffective, some actually contain ingredients that carry more significant risks. The most notable of these is codeine. Codeine is an opioid, which is a class of drugs that also includes morphine and heroin. It works as a cough suppressant by acting on the part of the brain that triggers the cough reflex. For a very severe, dry cough, it can be effective. However, its opioid nature means it comes with a serious potential for addiction and misuse. For years, cough syrups containing codeine, often sold under the name codeine linctus, were available from pharmacists without a prescription, making them, really easily accessible. The primary danger of codeine is its addictive potential. Regular use, even for a legitimate medical reason, can lead to physical dependence. The body gets used to the drug, and when a person tries to stop taking it, they can experience some pretty unpleasant withdrawal symptoms, such as anxiety, muscle aches, and insomnia. This can create a cycle where the person continues to take the syrup not to treat a cough, but just to avoid withdrawal. Furthermore, codeine can produce feelings of euphoria or relaxation, which has led to it being misused as a recreational drug. This is particularly concerning, as high doses can cause serious harm, including life-threatening respiratory depression, where breathing becomes dangerously slow and shallow. The risks are not limited to addiction. Codeine has a range of other side effects that can be problematic even with short-term use. Drowsiness and constipation are extremely common. The sedative effect means it is dangerous to drive or operate heavy machinery after taking it, which can have a significant impact on a person's daily life. There is also a genetic component to how people process codeine. Some individuals are ultra-rapid metabolizers, meaning their bodies convert codeine to morphine very quickly, putting them at a much higher risk of overdose and severe side effects, even at standard doses. Because of these substantial risks, the medical community's view on using codeine for coughs has shifted dramatically. Its use is now heavily discouraged, especially when safer alternatives exist. The potential for harm is seen as far outweighing the benefits for treating what is usually a self-limiting condition. In response to the growing concerns about addiction and misuse, UK health authorities have taken decisive action. In early 2024, the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, or MHRA, announced a major change in the legal status of codeine linctus. After a thorough review of the safety evidence and a public consultation, it was decided that these products would no longer be available for purchase over the counter in pharmacies. Instead, codeine linctus has been reclassified as a prescription-only medicine. This means that patients can now only obtain it if a doctor has assessed them and issued a formal prescription. This reclassification is a significant public health measure designed to break the cycle of misuse and addiction. By requiring a doctor's prescription, the new rule ensures that a qualified medical professional is involved in the decision-making process. A doctor can properly assess whether the patient's cough is severe enough to warrant an opioid treatment, rule out other underlying conditions, and discuss the risks and benefits with the patient. It also allows the doctor to monitor the patient's use of the medicine and limits the duration of treatment, reducing the likelihood of dependence developing. This gatekeeper role is, honestly, crucial in preventing people from self-medicating with a potentially addictive substance for prolonged periods. The decision was supported by numerous healthcare bodies and addiction charities who had long warned of the dangers of easily accessible codeine. They had seen firsthand the devastating impact of opioid addiction that sometimes started with a simple bottle of cough syrup. The MHRA's public consultation revealed widespread support for the change, with many pharmacists reporting that they felt uncomfortable selling the product due to concerns about misuse. The new regulations provide a clear framework that prioritizes patient safety over convenience and commercial interests, reflecting a more cautious and responsible approach to opioid-containing medicines. For the average person with a cough, this change simply means that one option has been removed from the pharmacy shelf. However, it serves as a powerful reminder that all medicines, even those previously sold over the counter, carry risks. The reclassification of codeine linctus reinforces the broader message that for most common coughs, simpler remedies are the best and safest choice. While most coughs are harmless and will clear up on their own, it is important to know when a cough might be a sign of something more serious. Relying on self-care and simple remedies is absolutely appropriate for a typical viral cough, but there are certain red flags that should prompt you to seek medical advice from a GP. One of the most important indicators is the duration of the cough. If your cough lasts for more than 3 weeks, it is no longer considered a typical acute cough and should be investigated. A persistent chronic cough could be a symptom of an underlying condition like asthma, gastroesophageal reflux disease, or in rare cases, something more serious like lung cancer. You should also pay close attention to the nature of your symptoms. If your cough is very severe or is getting progressively worse instead of better, it is wise to see a doctor. Other warning signs include coughing up blood, experiencing chest pain or shortness of breath, and having a persistent high temperature or fever. Unexplained weight loss, a long-term hoarse voice, or swelling and pain in your neck can also be associated with more serious conditions. These symptoms are not typical of a common cold and warrant a professional medical assessment to determine the cause and appropriate treatment. Certain groups of people should be more cautious and may need to see a doctor sooner. This includes very young children, elderly individuals, and people with pre-existing long-term health conditions. People with weakened immune systems, for example, due to chemotherapy or other medical treatments, should also seek advice promptly. In some situations, a cough can be part of a medical emergency that requires immediate attention. You should call 999 or go to A&E if you or someone else is having significant difficulty breathing. This might include gasping for breath, being unable to speak in full sentences, or the skin or lips turning blue or gray. As we have explored, the familiar bottle of cough syrup sitting in your bathroom cabinet may not be the effective remedy you have always believed it to be. The weight of scientific evidence, along with clear guidance from the NHS and medical experts, suggests that most over-the-counter preparations offer little more than a placebo effect. Instead of spending your money on these sugary concoctions, the most sensible approach is to embrace simpler, safer, and often cheaper alternatives that are proven to help manage your symptoms effectively. The power of remedies like a warm honey and lemon drink should not be underestimated. Honey is a natural, effective demulcent that can soothe an irritated throat and calm a cough, particularly at night. Combined with the simple acts of staying hydrated and getting plenty of rest, this approach gives your body the best possible support to do what it does best: heal itself. For aches and pains, simple painkillers like paracetamol are a much more targeted and effective choice than a multi-ingredient syrup that contains medicines you may not even need. It is also vital to remain aware of the potential dangers associated with certain medicines. The recent reclassification of codeine Linctus to a prescription-only drug highlights the very real risks of addiction and misuse. Always read the label, be aware of the active ingredients in any medicine you take, and never be afraid to ask your pharmacist for advice on the safest and most appropriate product for your symptoms. Ultimately, managing a common cough is about patience and sensible self-care. Trust in the simple, time-tested remedies that are backed by science. Allow your immune system the time it needs to fight off the infection, which is typically 2 to 3 weeks. And most importantly, know when to seek help. If your cough persists for longer than 3 weeks or is accompanied by any worrying red flag symptoms like chest pain, shortness of breath, or coughing up blood, do not hesitate to contact your GP. By rethinking our approach,